go to muslimskeptic.com. And we have this article. So the Me Too Mufti, the curious case of Me Too Mufti Abdullah Nana. So this is one of these people who has relegated himself or has nominated himself to be like the fitna police. You know, he's the one who is going to be the judge, jury, and executioner, going after different imams, and it's basically being a simp. Like, let's be real. That's what it means. Like, that's why we see these scandals being spread, and some of these imams who should know better coming to the forefront and saying, we have to protect the women. We have to protect these victims that have been victimized by these predators. And they make a big show of themselves, virtue signaling, positioning themselves as these heroes. Meanwhile, they're violating every single principle that we've just read in Surah An-Nur and have been established in fiqh. They're violating every single one of what's required in Islam, but they're the knowledgeable scholars. And you see that they are working hand in hand with the worst feminists, the worst pro-LGBT feminist deviants. They're working hand in hand with them to hold the imams accountable. And that's the hypocrisy that we're focusing on today, is the Dawah Mafia promotes these people. The Dawah Mafia promotes and works with these people and puts them on a pedestal as authorities. Oh, you know, these organizations are going to bring accountability to our community because there's so much horrible crimes being committed in private by these imams, and we have to hold them accountable. And we the people who are promoting feminism and LGBT and gender mixing, all kinds of ikhtilat, we're destroying all kinds of boundaries of hijab. We're promoting the worst kind of feminist ideals of marriage, i.e. the destruction of marriage. We have nominated ourselves and we have assigned ourselves the role to be judge, jury, and executioner, and we're going to hold these imams to account. And we're going to shut these institutions down. Because it's a cultural problem. It's a cultural problem. Why? It's never just an imam. It's never just some imam by himself. It's a culture of turning away from abuse. There's a culture of it. So we have to not only put this dirtbag in prison and cancel him forever, but we have to also liquidate all of his institutions or take them over. If he is a part of a masjid, or he's a part of a masjid board, or he has a madrasa, he has a Islamic school, we will take it over. And we will be the new caretakers of that institution. And we're going to bring in all of these feminist counselors to teach the community about abuse, and especially spiritual abuse. And this is the term that they are trying to normalize. Spiritual abuse has to be stopped. And we're going to dive deeper into what this term spiritual abuse means. This is the kind of assault on the Muslim community and Muslim institutions that are being done by people like Abdullah Nana. I don't know if he's doing it now, but he has a long history of it, and he's never apologized. He's never said that this was wrong, I shouldn't have engaged in this. He's never publicly said anything to correct himself and his egregious behavior. And it's quite shocking if you read the kinds of things that he was willing to do in his pursuit of bringing down these predators. And oftentimes, in these cases, by the way, this is what we're going to also mention, is that in many of these cases, it's just an imam who has wanted to have a second wife. He's trying to get married to a second wife. And because of the stigma that has been created, unfortunately, because of the influence of liberalism and feminism, the stigma against having a second wife, he's pursuing it in secret. He's pursuing a second wife in secret. And there are opinions in Islam, in fiqh, that this kind of secret marriage is permissible. What is that? When we say secret, this is a false term, by the way. What they mean when they say secret marriage means that, oh, you haven't told your first wife. Therefore, it's a secret. And you haven't announced it to the wider community. Therefore, it's a secret. Basically, when they say secret marriage, they mean second marriage without the permission of the second wife. And a secret marriage is a crime. Who says? Does Islam require a husband to get permission from his wife to get married to a second wife? No, there is no such requirement in Islam. He is free to pursue a second wife, or a third, or a fourth. He doesn't require her permission. This is a feminist standard that has been imposed but has nothing to do with Islam. Now, to be clear, is it advisable? Is it a good idea, especially given our context and the culture? And is it a good idea to talk to your wife and to make sure that she's on board? Is that a good idea? Yes. Highly recommended, very highly recommended in terms of our context, because there's a high potential that you're going to destroy your marriage, your first marriage, and then if you have children involved, like the courts are going to get involved, she's going to divorce you, and she's going to have a very a strong case against you because the feminist courts are going to be sympathetic to her and not you, because they consider having a second wife to be essentially cheating. So there is this concept of no fault divorce in the West. Like, okay, if your wife cheats on you and you get a divorce, she's entitled to half your property still in many cases, and she's still entitled to custody of the kids still, even though she's the one who cheated. There's no fault. It's not like she's broken the contract by sleeping with someone else behind your back. That's the whole concept of no fault divorce. But in the case of polygyny, in the case of having a second wife, or other infractions, quote unquote, by the man, then there's a fault, and they're going to make you suffer. They're going to punish you as a man. So you have to be aware of that context. And so, but the point is that there are many of these scandals that people like Abdullah Nana and others in the Dawah Mafia, they are pursuing these scandals not on the basis of what is wrong Islamically, but on the basis of what is wrong according to feminism. And if you don't ask your wife for permission and you beg her, you get on your hands and knees like a dog and you beg her, if you don't do that, then you are a disgusting predator. You're a pervert, and we're going to destroy your life. We're going to, by the way, what these fitna mongers do is they don't go to the public and say, yeah, he was pursuing a second wife without permission of his first wife. This is wrong, and therefore he is a predator who should be canceled. They don't say that. They say he was involved in sexual indecency, and he is abusing women, and he's a spiritual abuser. Why? Because he's an imam, or he is a Muslim community leader, and he tries to justify this on the basis of religion. He tries to justify it on the basis of religion, that you can get a second wife without permission from your first. Therefore, he is taking advantage of the religion for his own sick, perverted desires. So this is their dishonesty. They don't even come openly talk about what the real problem was. They just they mask it in these terms like indecency, inappropriate behavior, spiritual abuse, to allow the Muslim community, or at least those who are not abiding by Surah An-Nur, for their imaginations to run wild. Oh, sexual misconduct, inappropriate behavior, spiritual abuse? What? He was basically raping people. He's a rapist. He must be a serial rapist. And then they start spraying. Did you know that Imam Fulan is a serial rapist? Yeah, I read it. Imam Fulan, do you guys hear? He's a serial. There's like 100 victims of people he's been raping. He's been raping up and down the conferences. Everywhere he goes, he's raping people. This is how things snowball. This is how rumors spread, and they grow bigger and bigger. It all starts with that dishonest portrayal. He was engaged in inappropriate conduct. They don't define what the inappropriate conduct is. If you go to their website, however, they will say, they will, despite themselves, acknowledge that the inappropriate conduct is actually wanting a second wife. That was inappropriate conduct. That's the case in the vast majority of these scandals that you hear about. That is the situation.